Of course, it probably wouldn't build up quite as much as this out here because this is constantly pulling in fresh water. So the Turgor pressure might reach 4, and the net tendency then for that cell to absorb water is 2. And so because of that, there's a tendency for water to move from the soil into the first cell, into the root hair cell, and a tendency for water to move from the root hair cell into the cells of the interior. Now, it was absorbed from the soil because of osmotic pressure. It was pushed into the interior cells by Turgor pressure. But now you get the real fun part, is the xylem. So this stuff out here, xylem is a term a lot of people know about it. So this is the woody part of a tree or a plant. And xylem is mostly just wood fibers from dead cells. And that's kind of, in fact, xylem doesn't even work if it's alive. It's not even xylem if it's alive. And so these things were alive. I mean, they were formed originally as living cells, but they deliberately commit suicide or autolysize themselves. They self-destruct for the good of the whole. It's not a wasted effort on their part. They're sacrificing for the good of the plant. And so now you have this hollow, thick-walled tube that can go from deep in the roots all the way to the top of a redwood tree. Well, how are you going to get water in that? And so just plain soil water that has minerals dissolved in it anyway has an osmotic pressure of about 4, just soil water in general. It would have some osmotic pressure. But notice, if that were the end of the story, if it were just osmosis, then the plants, the roots, would be sucking the water out of the xylem and be moving back into the root. It'd never get out of the root. And so what kind of Turgor pressure do you have in a xylem cell? And the answer is 0. If there's no membrane, to hold things together and allow for, the continuous accumulation of osmotic pressure to stretch the cell wall, you can't get any Turgor pressure. So a dead cell is like a pipe. It can't really do anything. It's just there. So water pipes in a house are like xylem. They're just there. They have a certain size diameter, and that's pretty much it. Our blood vessels are quite different. Our blood vessels are stretchy and alive, and so they can actually flex and contribute to, moving fluid along. But plants don't have that. So their Turgor pressure is 0. Their net diffusion pressure deficit is 4. So the water moves into the xylem. But notice there are 2 different reasons here. The water moved from the soil into the root hair because of osmosis. It moved from the root into the xylem and from then on up because of Turgor pressure. Now, I was going to make the point, or I will make the point, that basically plants get to circulate fluids. They get water to the top of the tallest redwood without spending any energy whatsoever. We spend an enormous amount of energy making the heart beat, keeping the arteries and veins, in good repair and all that. We spend a lot of energy circulating fluid. Most animals spend a lot of energy circulating fluids. Plants just lie back and let chaos take its course. But of course, chaos doesn't do it. You have to have a system designed, to do that. So if you had this was a living cell, the whole system would break down and you'd get nowhere. And if plants didn't have a wall, you could never even start building this system. And so you have to have lots of design features lined up in a row in order to make this work. And so there's 2 different reasons. Osmosis gets the water in the root in the first place. Turgor pressure pushes it into the xylem. Some of you may have done this, or you can try it. If you have a little plant, at home, say, with the roots down the soil like that, say it has a couple branches, well, you can, cut off a branch over here and put a glass tube, attach a little glass tube to the branch and seal it, tie it off, maybe put a little Vaseline around it, and watch. And that little glass tube attached to a plant like that will begin to fill up with water. And so you can watch it, gradually fill up with water pulled out of the ground. And depending on how tall the plant is, etc., it might actually spill out. You'd have a little fountain going like that. Now there's an idea for a garden, right? People can ask you questions about that, and you can talk about how God capitalized on chaos, used a random motion of water molecules to move water uphill. What? At no cost to the plant. The only cost of the plant is you have to have living membranes, but they would have to have living membranes anyway. So there's no additional cost for pumping water uphill. In fact, they aren't pumping it uphill. They're allowing it to flow uphill. They're just opening a channel. And so this is as I get to the bottom line first, water flowing to the top of the tallest redwood is flowing downhill, energetically speaking. It's certainly flowing uphill against gravity, but it's flowing down an energy hill. You'd actually have to do something to keep it from flowing uphill. It's actually easier for it to flow uphill than not. You would have to interfere with the process. And so again, the glory goes not to the chaos, but to the God who designed the system. To keep those things going for 4,500 years, they don't have to worry about their heartbeat wearing out. Water just naturally follows this motion from high to low concentration. Okay, so here's the whole plant. I enlarge that little part at the bottom. And so here, moist soil, osmosis draws the water into the cell. Turgor pressure pushes it to the next cell, and then turgor pressure pushes it into these dead, hollow xylem cells, and it begins to move up the plant. Now, it turns out that turgor pressure, the diffusion pressure deficit there is about 4. And then 4 atmospheres would be roughly 60 pounds per square inch. And that'll move water several feet up a plant. But a redwood's more than several feet. It's several hundred feet. And so the turgor pressure will push water up, so far. It'll get plants started. Any seed would be good enough to grow bushes this tall. But if you're going to get water, and of course, by the way, you have to start small in order for this to work. But if a redwood seed sprouts, the water goes all the way up to the first leaves. And then when you get to the first leaves, now you get another phenomenon going on. Okay, so up here in the leaf cell, and I think I have that kind of marked out here. And so I've got the diffusion pressure deficit here of 5. And that's a result of 6, the normal osmotic pressure of a leaf cell or most any other plant cell, minus 1.